Plaintiff Rashina Jones says she met the defendant when she dated her son. Rashina claims the defendant once broke a window in her home because she thought her son was inside with another woman. Rashina is suing her son's ex for several unpaid loans. Defendant Aisha Pridgeon says she and Rashina were very close, but every time Aisha caught Rashina's son cheating, he would run home to mommy. Aisha insists Rashina's son agreed to repay the loans, so she should be suing him.
All rise. This court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Greg Mathis presiding. You may now be seated.
Start with you.
This is my son's ex-girlfriend, my grandson's mother.
When did they break up?
As far as I know, been about a year ago.
Okay. When did you start wanting your money back? About a year ago?
Almost, about a year and a half ago.
So it was all right, long as they were together. No, it is. That's the case. I probably would be the same way too. Y'all go together, you keep owing me.
No.
When y'all break up, ain't no more owe.
No.
You have to pay up. Break up, pay up. Go ahead.
Unnecessary, Your Honor.
Yes, it did. You should have been like that.
Okay.
Tell me. So how were they as a couple, to your knowledge?
Well, they were a good couple until Aisha. I'm just going to be honest with you. I had nothing against her. However, she seemed to be get a little crazy at times. And she would call me. She would call me and go off and stuff
About
like
what?
that. Say he's cheating. He's cheating.
Oh, okay.
He's cheating. She would say he's cheating.
I wasn't trying to go off on her.
You were looking for a sympathetic
Somebody
ear.
to talk to. It's his mom.
Yeah, but then she would start going crazy, like breaking my window at my house.
That was not on purpose. The window was thin. I slammed the door.
She broke the window thinking the lady was in there and no one was in there. And I was out of town. I own that home. He don't.
And they all live, your son lives there?
Oh, he lives there, yeah. She
Got
didn't
it.
live there. No,
Got
yes,
it.
Your
Okay.
Honor. And when she would come and she get angry, she would come, and be aggressive. She's
'Cause he
very
was
beautiful.
running home.
She's beautiful and look very nice and innocent, but however, she get crazy when she's upset at him. So as time went on, I had no problem with her. I respect her, she respect me, but now time done got too far. It got too far. And I feel disrespectful because another income tax done went past.
Oh, you got the income tax game. She gave you that. How many times? You said twice?
Well,
And you went for it the second time?
no, not really. It was all within the same
She said
time.
exactly, like she admits to conning you. Go ahead.
Judge, I got a grandson there, so if I can help somebody, I'm gonna help.
Yeah, but don't take their lie, though. That's
Yeah,
my
but
point.
if you get $12,000 and you know it's coming, hey, $2,000 wasn't nothing to help
That's my
her.
point. She just obviously she
Right,
was
and
being
it was all
insincere.
within- it was
and you
November.
heard when I said that you believed her twice. She said exactly.
Three
she was
times.
big enough fool to believe me. That's the essence of what she said.
Yeah,
you did.
well-
Yeah, she did. She
Well,
believed me
well, I
twice.
believed her 'cause-
Can you believe that, Your Honor?
Yes.
I told her that twice, and she went for
Three
it.
times. Three times.
Exactly, Your Honor.
Well, I did, because she
Let me hear
seemed
from
very
you,
nice,
ma'am.
and
Let
I
me-
did.
You give
I
me
did
some
believe her.
background on this.
I've known Miss Jones for 6 years. Me and her son were dating. Me and her were very close. Like, it's just the...
How long? You all dated for 6?
It's been an on and off thing. What he would do is every time he get caught up with his cheating, lying, inboxing girls, he run home to mommy. And I'm just like, okay, I get it, but at the same time, we got a kid together. You're helping me raise my other kids, so you should be a man and be there. Don't keep running every time. And I get that's her kid, but okay, at some point, you need to go mend your household. But no, and I did not break that window on purpose. But I really feel like it really got
You said
kind
you
of...
shut the door? That's what caused
I slammed it, but it was a thin window. I didn't know. Who
You
knew?
all weren't getting physical with each other, were you?
No. And I think the only thing too...
If she would have got in.
No, I think the only thing too that she felt disrespected because the one time I went and picked the girl up. Like, she wrote me on Facebook. She said she was dating him. Okay, I'm gonna pick you up.
How does that make you disrespect her?
Because it was her property.
Oh, got it. You wouldn't pick the woman up and brought
Yes.
her back there?
Yes.
What, you was gonna tie her up or something?
I told you she was, what I tell you, she was crazy.
Why don't you bring that woman back over
No,
there?
I wanted to confront him
When
because
she get mad, she get a little crazy, Your
Pardon me?
Honor.
When he wouldn't be honest with me.
And why was she fool enough to get in the car with you?
Exactly. They both crazy.
You sound like crazy women, it sounds like to me. So you're going to be dealing with this a lot.
I'm
The
better.
next one going to do it in the next one because obviously he likes to go ahead.
But yeah, so when I went over there,
I can't imagine somebody coming over there. You messing with my man. Or you messing with my woman. Let's get in the car and take a ride.
Wow, that's bold.
Okay.
That's bold.
Go ahead. So what happened when y'all got in the car?
So I took her to, it's her business, it's Miss Jones' business, but he was living there once again, running away from home. So when we got to the door, I told her to stand behind me. And this fool, when he comes to the door, she gonna jump out all bossy, like, no, calm down. So then he ran back in the house and he wouldn't let me in.
And what did she do?
Got back in the car and I took her home.
What were y'all saying on the way there and on the way back? You were just saying we're going to
I
set
was
him
just
up.
letting her talk and let her spill all the beans.
And had me on the speaker.
Was your purpose to set him up, the two of you? So
Yes, I wanted to
catch him
confront
at the
him.
same time?
Yeah.
Okay. And y'all weren't mad with each other. You were mad with him.
Right, because I mean, she didn't know me at
That's
the end
who
of the
you're
day.
supposed to be mad with.
Right.
Tell me about the loans that you're suing
Yeah,
for.
however, all that has nothing to do with the money.
Right.
She feel like once, your son was there too, once she had spent all her $12,000 last year and probably this year, I don't know.
12.
Close to it.
Tell me about some agreements.
We was in this club together. I paid for her up front.
Us.
Plus I paid a couple of months for her fee. And when I paid for it, I guess somehow, I don't know if the IRS took it or she just didn't get it or spent it. So we didn't talk about it because by that time, it wasn't time for her to get it back. So then her rent was due and she needed some money for her rent. And I gave her the money and I'm always-
House
I'm the
your
type-
son stayed in.
Yes, and I made her sign something. And then by that time, I know the money really coming and she needed a ride to get back and forth to work. She's a good mother, she works. So she promised me when I get it back, I'll give you all your money back. And I said, no problem, I trust you and I believe you. I
And the
believe you.
total was $22.50?
Well, it was 24, but she made
$24.50?
yes, Your Honor. And she made a payment, initial payment to start off. I don't know if you want to see
Let's see
that.
it, please.
Uh-huh. And then she also, you want to give them those?
Sure.
Yeah, she made initial payment.
$200.
And who got
these
$2,000
are
a year?
notes.
Yeah.
Ma'am, what do you say to this?
Okay, the original agreement was, yes, I was physically there when we exchanged money. Her son was to pay it back for real. I was
Why
being-
did you sign the document
because
then?
he wasn't there. So he basically was like, listen, my mom gonna be more comfortable loaning it because I'm the more responsible one. So he like, well, if you sign it, she gonna be good and I'm gonna pay her back whenever.
That was a setup. Go ahead.
Big setup. Because I would have went after him if it was up to him.
Right.
But I'm just like, yes, I did tell her when I get my taxes, but I also felt like this is not my debt to pay. This him. He's the one who said, well, I'm going to ask my mom. Like for the rent.
And
He
who
asked her, not me.
Okay, but you signed the document.
Yes, I did.
All right. Unfortunately, I can only go with the law. And you signed the documents and you made the agreement directly with her when you signed them. Judgment for the plaintiff. Have a good day.
I think we can make this work. I think we could become a family again, regardless of him.
I know it's going to work. I have a grandson by you, so I have to see you for the rest of my life.
Don't make it sound so bad,
Plaintiff Nicole Black says she and the defendant started off casually dating, but the defendant said he wanted a more committed relationship, even though Nicole claims he cheated on her with at least 20 women. Nicole's suing her ex for an unpaid loan and a bail bond. Defendant Adrian Laura says he and Nicole dated for 2 months, and Nicole was completely obsessed with him. Adrian insists he never asked Nicole to bail him out of jail, and therefore he denies owing her. However, he's countersuing for harassment.
All rise. This court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Greg Mathis presiding. You may now be seated.
Start with you.
So I met Adrian in August through a mutual friend. We started hanging out exclusively more often. He wanted to take things further. He wanted commitment. I wasn't ready for it at first, but I took it into consideration. We ended up getting together. I don't know why he wanted to be together. When we were, he was very unloyal The first time I actually caught him talking to other girls, he left his phone in the car. I usually don't go through phones, but I just had a really bad instinct. So I went through his phone. I found about like 20 or 30 different messages. All the same thing, him like replying to girls' stories with hard eyes, you know, little money face emojis, all this stuff, you know.
Money faces?
Yeah, money
Meaning
faces.
he's going to trick with
money,
them?
yeah. But yeah.
Or give them money.
Oh,
Some
yeah.
folks might not appreciate the word trick with them.
Yeah, oh yeah.
When a man is simply offering women money and no other situation and he wants something in exchange, typically that's tricking.
Yeah.
Go ahead. You don't want a relationship. You want to give her money for sex. That's what it is, as far as I knew. Go ahead.
But yeah.
How many? Say over 20?
Yeah. And this was like multiple occasions. I would come home after like working a double, or not come home, but I'd go to, you know, his house and I'd find it on his phone. And it was just.
Over what time frame? You all just met in August?
Yeah. August.
Of 18?
Yes, August of 2018.
And when did you find that he had 20 or he was 20 deep?
That was like. It was like a month later.
You confront him about it?
Yeah.
What did he say?
He just wouldn't let me see his phone again. He didn't admit to it until like, you know, I'd have to bring solid proof about it.
And he had taken the phone back, so you didn't have the proof anymore.
So I was like, you know, like I was.
He erased the
lady.
proof.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, what girl? But
let's see how you got 20 women. He pretty clever.
Yeah.
All right, you tell me about this, sir. She says you're 20 deep. You give me an explanation of what she's saying thus far.
Really, Your Honor, she's obsessed with me. We was dating for a couple months and, you know, we got busy and, you know, she got hooked, of course. And
she said you had a bunch of texts she discovered. She gave you your phone back, confronted you about them, and you denied them and erased them and all that, right?
I didn't even try. There was probably too many.
Okay. What part of the game is that? What part of the game, if you're a player, do you have to defend yourself against one of 20? A real player say, what? Look at my text. All right, what you think of them? I don't like your text. You shouldn't have done it. That's a real player. You're no player. I know players, and sir, you're no player. Go ahead, ma'am. Tell me what you're suing the wannabe player about.
So
the wannabe.
I took him to court November 20th.
Court?
Yeah, no. I took him to his court date. He had a court date.
For his court date.
Yeah, he had a bench warrant.
No, you don't have to sue no player. Then again, you suing him today. Player! Don't tell me your women sue you too.
Yeah.
You give them money and they still sue you.
I never gave them.
Or you send money signs promising to. Go ahead, ma'am.
Yeah, but he didn't.
You went to court with him for what?
The court, I'm not sure what it was for, but he had a bench warrant we didn't know, so they took him right there. He had another court date that I went to. In between that, I was trying to get him some good recommendations because he did volunteer work with me at one of my jobs. So basically after that court date, they posted the bail at one, and he called me. He said, hey, we talked about the bail. He said, can you bail me out? I have $4,000 at home. When I get home, I'll pay you back the $3,215. So after that, I called his mom. I called his best friend. I said, hey, I don't know if I have that in the bank right now. Could you guys put anything down? And no one wanted to basically do your crime, do your time, you know, type of thing. So I went to the bank. I took out $2,000. I have right here.
Let me see it, please.
And I also went home. I'm a waitress for my job, so I have cash tips. I just keep them at home, you know, until I can put them in the bank. So I got the remaining amount. So it was, I took $2,000, and then I got $1,215. I went to the bailman's at Aladdin. Met up with his mom. She co-signed. I have the receipt here saying that it was just me to pay the cash.
Let's see it.
Yeah, it says cash Nicole Black.
But did he agree to pay you though? He
agreed to pay me on the phone.
That's the $3,215 question.
Yeah.
When did he say he would repay you?
On the phone when you called me right after the court
When did he
date.
say I will? Did he give an estimate, a time frame?
He said when he got home, he had $4,000 at home, and that he would pay me back the $3,250.
All right, and then when he got home, what did happen?
We got in an argument, and he said he didn't want to pay me back because I'm not his B anymore.
Okay. All right, sir, let me hear from you.
You know, I had called her from the bail phone, but I didn't. She was already on it. She was already on her way to the bank, on her way make the calls. Like,
Did you ever tell her you'd pay? Pay her?
nah, she was already on it. I didn't have to say.
I didn't ask you that. Did you ever discuss the payment?
No, Your Honor.
All right, so you intended for it to be a gift.
Yeah. Basically.
Okay. And did she ever ask you to repay her?
Yeah. She after, like, once I got out.
What'd you say?
That was never like part of the plan. Like, we never agreed to that. If
You told her that?
I would have just sat there and
Did you tell her that?
Yeah.
And what did she say?
She said she needed her money.
Okay, you reminded her, we didn't agree that I owed you this money. And she said, I need my money.
Yeah.
All right, and that was the last conversation about it?
Nah.
When was the last conversation?
I have no clue. It was actually every day she was hitting me for the money.
Last day. You don't know the last time? What would you say? Every day the woman would ask you the same question. What would you do? Tell her the same answer every day?
I just wouldn't reply.
Pardon me?
I wouldn't reply. It was like she was like harassing me for it. I never agreed to pay her in the first place.
Okay, how would she reach out? She would call you?
Call me, text me.
Oh, do you have any text there?
Yeah.
Oh, good. Let me see what they say. I want to see why you didn't reply. That's odd. Somebody keeps harassing you saying you owe me. That's odd that you don't say, hey, what are you talking about? I don't owe you. We discussed that. And I told you I wasn't going to pay you back. If you can pay me back, that would be great. And if not, okay, just let me know. I really got nobody. Nobody helps me when I'm down. You didn't respond?
I responded.
Why?
Huh?
Why?
I don't know. I just wasn't
because
trying to-
you believed you owed her.
I didn't-
Otherwise, a person that doesn't owe, someone asks you for $3,000 over and over, at some point you say, particularly if they've texted these 5 paragraphs, you say, why are you texting me 5 paragraphs? I don't owe you. Remember, we discussed that. Don't you remember? Instead, you say nothing. You say nothing. What's your counterclaim? $3,000 for harassment.
There was actually one day she had, came to my house, causing a scene. I actually had we had a metal gate. I don't know how she bent it. Like, she literally she did that. And somebody had to call it, I don't know. It's just harassment. It's harassment,
That's it. All right. That's all you want to say is she's harassing me. That's that's how you prove your claim today.
Huh? I got this other piece of paper.
What do you have there? Yeah. All right. You want me to have something? Yeah, like you ever. It's good you went. I'll take the L, baby. Like always. All right, she's just saying that you mistreat her. That's all you. Thanks for giving me the evidence to indicate that she believes you mistreat her. Your claim for harassment is dismissed. Indeed, what you presented me with was evidence that she believes you mistreat her all the time, and you didn't respond then. So that gives me the impression you have a consciousness of guilt. And even though it's not direct evidence to indicate that he agreed to repay you, it's circumstantial evidence that I'm going to accept. And by virtue of this circumstantial evidence, I'm going to conclude that he intended to pay you. Judgment for the plaintiff. Your claim is dismissed.
Mistreated me. I was really there for you. I was really there for you.
I got nothing to say. Not best friend.
Okay. All love.
All love, yeah.
Plaintiff Jessica French says a month after her husband suddenly passed away, she met the defendant online and they started dating. However, Jessica claims after she loaned him money and bought furniture for him, he broke up with her, so she's suing. Defendant Stephen Byer says his relationship with the plaintiff was purely sexual at first, and he had no idea she was recently widowed. Stephen claims everything from Jessica was a gift, so he denies owing for anything.
All rise. This court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Greg Mathis presiding. You may now be seated.
Start with you.
I met Steve back in April of 2020. My husband had passed away in March, very unexpectedly. We were married 20 years. So I was in a very, very low place at this time. I had lots of support and family that helped out, and I had someone recommend maybe a dating site or two would help. Meeting somebody, talking to. So on one of those sites, I did meet Steve. We talked quite a while, and we could talk for hours. Telephone, text, even the Zoom calls and stuff.
How often?
Every single day.
Okay.
Multiple times a day.
How long after that did you all meet in person?
A week or so.
Okay.
I can't remember exactly.
Where did you all meet?
Near where he lived, halfway point.
At a restaurant or at his
No,
house?
it was COVID. Everything was shut
Okay,
down.
so where did you meet? Outside?
A hotel.
Right, okay. That's why you scared to say it. Okay. First time you met the man, y'all were at the hotel. Did you all have relations that night?
Yes.
Okay. And afterwards, what was the nature of the relationship?
Well, it didn't take very long, as you can see, between April and June there. When we began talking to each other on the text messages and phone calls, he was telling me how he had been married for like 17 years. We kind of clicked over this of him having to leave, but he had to wait for 30 days to get some money to move out to a new apartment, but that he wanted to have his kids and he really wasn't going to be able to have them the way he wanted because he had no furniture, nothing like that was in the apartment. He was starting completely over. So we discussed about what he would do, how could I help, what would he need. So it started with he had to find a place first to live, which he did. And that place was a little bit more expensive than what he could afford. So we discussed that initially. But he said that he had money put aside in an escrow account or something, getting divorced. Money shouldn't be an issue, but it was just for the moment. And it was a lot of talking of, I don't know what I'm going to do. I need this. I need that.
Now, how long after meeting him did he start dry begging?
Oh my goodness. That was days. Like
talking about his bills days after meeting.
My goodness.
Yeah, that's straight up dry begging. I mean, right after you meet a person, oh, I'd like to come over. I'd like to come over, but I got to get this taken care of first.
Exactly.
Because I'm too stressed out. I wouldn't be good company. Did he ever say, I wouldn't be good company if we got together today because all that's on my mind are these bills.
And my back hurts. And I'm having these issues. Oh, yes.
My back hurts so on the floor or on the couch. Sleeping on the couch makes my back hurt. So I can't do nothing with you until I get a nice furniture set. That's dry begging at its finest.
I was in that spot where I probably would have just believed anything at that point. He was saying all the right things. He started with the I love yous and I can't wait to be with you. And I can't wait to see your name as Jessica Beyer. Wow. It was I should have seen these things as being flags, but I was so traumatized by the loss of what you're trying
to cover that pain with other companionship and hoping that it will go away. It's
absolutely
almost like a
and
rebound.
He said everything perfectly right. Everything.
Let me hear from you, sir. Let me hear your side.
Yeah, like Jessica had said that we started seeing each other or started talking to each other in April of 2020. Within that first week, we were with each other sexually. We met at this hotel. It was just a sexual relationship. It wasn't anything more than that right off the bat. She instantly started showering me with gifts, like, here's some cologne. I think you'd smell good with this stuff. And I'm a blue collar person. So if I don't like to take things for free, I like to earn them on my own.
What else do you consider showering?
She was she made some painting or something like that and handed it to me with some poem on the back talking about how in love she was already with me. And it's just she said, I was going through a divorce at that time. She didn't tell me anything about her husband passing or anything like that when we were talking to each other for that first week. So when she told me of that, it's when I was at her house the first time I was to visit her. So I see these pictures of her husband all over the place, and I seen a picture of somebody that looked to be laying in a coffin. So I had asked her about that, and she goes, "Oh, that's my husband. He had just recently passed in March of 2020." So that kind of caught me off guard.
How long had you been talking to her on the internet before you were at her home?
3 weeks.
For 3 weeks, you all talked endlessly, hours at a time?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and in 3 weeks, for hours at a time, she never said, I'm a widow,
No, sir.
that my husband died. Never.
No, sir. That was never brought up.
And did you say, why didn't you tell me? Because that's
Yes, sir.
odd.
Yes, sir. I said something about that. I said, so, again, I wouldn't grieve the way that she was grieving, going right into it, jumping into a dating app. You know, I would try to give myself some time to grieve. She decided that she didn't want to scare me away, that we were just freshly going into a relationship, and that she didn't want to chase me away with something that serious. And I said, this is something that shouldn't be kept from people. That, you know, I was honest right away with what I was going through. I expected the same out of her.
Ma'am, you believed telling him that you suffered from the loss of your husband would have scared him away?
It was right on my profile. Recently widowed woman.
Sir?
No, sir, it was not. No, it wasn't. That wasn't on her dating app's profile at all.
And ma'am, tell me about the loans and the property.
So the loan part is me paying home furniture. It came out of my checking account to pay for it. So May 1st, he got his apartment. He wouldn't be able to move in until the following week. So we discussed what furniture he would need because he literally had nothing. And he kept telling me, I appreciate you. Thank you. Yep, I wouldn't be able to do this without you. I made all the appointments. So on May 7th, we picked the furniture that he wanted. So he got a king size headboard, footboard, dresser. And then we ended up going to Big Lots. And at that store, got the mattress and the rest of the stuff to put into your home. The entire receipt is all like cleaning supplies, silverware, you know.
But
towels,
did he ever say he would repay you? I'm missing that part. That's the most important part.
Multiple times.
Pardon?
Multiple times. Said it in person.
What was the pay? Was there a payment plan?
It was very light, so to speak, as far as there was no date set of when you had to pay, because like I said he had money sitting in some escrow account. He would get that with the divorce.
All right, now let's get to the unreturned property you're speaking of.
Yes.
Queen bed set, Keurig coffee maker, and bedding.
One of the days that I came to visit, I brought that stuff with.
Sir, you tell me about the purchase of the furniture and the other items that she says you agreed to repay her.
Yeah, I never agreed to repay her. The conversation started with, she asked me how I was going to get furniture for my new place. And I was asking to set up, you know, through a rent-to-own center to get furniture that I could afford. And then out of her mouth was that, no, you need furniture that's going to be your forever furniture. You need to do this, you need to do that. And if I'm going to be sleeping down there, I need to be sleeping on a certain bed with a certain mattress and this and that.
Why,
so this is going to be my home away from home. So I don't know where she's getting that from. And I told her right off the bat that I wasn't comfortable with something like that happening. She was insistent that she does this for me because this is what people do when they care for each other. And then I reminded her again, hey, we just started seeing each other. You know, what's to say that this is going to work out or not? Because what had happened is I went up to her house. It was I want to say it was the beginning of June to visit her for a weekend. When I came in contact with her, she was extremely intoxicated and belligerent. She started an argument right away with me. At that point, probably 45 minutes into my stay with her, I called it. I said, I have to go home. So I left her house, heading home. I stopped to get some gas and something to eat. And I got a ping from the dating site that we had signed up to. And it was instantly showing me a profile for her that she had just set up that day. Like, I just left her house and she set up a profile.
Saying what?
Instantly. Saying that she was looking for the same type of thing, looking for a man. Yep. Using pictures that she had sent me through the week, all the way up until that Friday, even that day.
Ma'am, is that true?
I have no idea what he's talking about.
You tell me how things went. Why you broke up and what happened.
He started getting distant about a week or so before the actual breakup that he's talking about. He came on that weekend, I believe it was the first weekend in June. The day he came to visit for that weekend was the day, oddly enough, that the last piece of furniture got delivered. And he came to my driveway and I could tell immediately something was off. Like, there was no eye contact. He wasn't acting like him. So we went and sat down, discussed like what is going on. And he said that he was just upset. And I was sitting here, I said, I don't know what you're doing here. Like, you seem very angry, and all I'm trying to do is help you. Well, I don't want your help. Fine. You don't want my help. I don't know what you want here then. And the exact words from his mouth when he looked at me was, are we doing this? Yeah, I guess we're doing this. I don't know what you're talking about. And then he turned around, got in his truck, and left.
Okay.
Yes.
So he doubled down on you with the game.
Yeah.
All right. First he dry begs you, then he comes with the trump up the argument game.
There you go.
And then say, I ain't giving you nothing. I ain't want to talk to you. I'm angry. We don't go together. These were gifts. That's pretty good.
I sent a message right away asking about it, and he never replied.
You've been to Detroit, have you? Got some lessons from some of my boys in Detroit, yeah. So my boys who couldn't get no real money, they had to hustle women.
Right.
What they call them, scrubs. And I'll call my buddies, all scrubs, getting money off women. Go ahead. I told you, and they don't watch, so I can talk about them like a dog. Supposed to be my lifelong friends, and y'all don't watch the show. I'm talking about you behind your back. Scrubs. Using women for money.
Yes.
I'm not going to call your name, sir, but you fit that script. That's how the game goes. You start out with the dry begging. Every day. And you want to enjoy your company. So if the man coming over frantic every day and depressed, okay, honey.
Yes.
Let me buy you the furniture. You don't even matter. No. I'll tell you how it went. Can I buy you the furniture? Oh, no. I would never want you to do that, right? Did he ever say, I don't want you to do it?
Well, it was that whole thing of, I don't know what I'm going to do, and how can I do this?
That's what I said. And did he say, I don't want you to do it? All right.
Yeah, no, I got this.
Right, that's my point. That's what I'm getting to. That's how it goes down. That's exactly how it goes down. That is classic. Now give me some evidence, ma'am. Sounds like you have some text messages indicating some discussions.
Yes. So we had been discussing with him going to be moving and needing this stuff. So it was on April 30th. We were discussing, I said, oh, you're going to owe me tons of money. And he replied with, I'm going to give you cash for repayment. That was the first one.
Yeah, see these texts, man, these texts are ruining the game.
Oh, I love it.
Text messages ruin the game. If you say it over the phone, unless she taping you, it's better to say it in front of her, though. Oh, yeah, baby, I'm going to pay you back. I mean, you know that. As long as we've been together, I wouldn't leave you hanging. I know what you've been going through.
Yes.
You don't text that. These texts are messing up the game. Glad I ain't hustling no more.
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to give you cash. Buddy, how do you want to explain that, sir?
I was just feeling compelled to offer something at that point because she was willing to do all this for me.
Okay.
And
what happened to your compulsion?
This is hard to explain it. So it's like, I just didn't want to feel like I was taking advantage of her. I knew that if I didn't say something at that point in time, my conscience was going to get the best of me, and it did. So
you didn't want to do anything to use her. Is that what I just heard you say?
Yes, sir.
A woman buying you something, and she says, give me some money for it, because I believe these were loans. You don't think that makes her feel taken advantage of when you say no?
When she's sitting there telling me that all this stuff she's got laying around her house that she needs to get rid of, she doesn't know what to do with it after all this stuff had gone down. She just take this. I don't need this. I don't need that. It's just like, wait,
Well, whatever she said, she showed me text where you say you'd pay it back. The game didn't run out. Hope none of your other victims see this, or you're going to be out of bed. You're going to be back sleeping on the floor. Judgment for the plaintiff. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Plaintiff Vanita Williams says the defendant is her daughter, and although Vanita was a drunk for most of her life, she admits that she absolutely loathes her daughter. Vanita is suing her today for loans, a bank fee, and emotional distress. Defendant Tandalia Williams says growing up, Vanita constantly said she hated her and wished she would have aborted her, yet Tandalia still sought her mother's approval.
All rise. This court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Greg Mathis presiding. You may now be seated.
Start with you.
Well, I'm suing her for monies that I loaned her back in September and October. I loaned it to her on good faith that she would pay me at the end of October.
Okay. Before we get to that, why don't you tell me about your relationship? Growing up, did she grow up under you in the household? Did you raise her?
She says I didn't raise her. I was a drunk when I got pregnant with her, and I was a drunk most of her teenage years. I didn't get sober until about 10 years ago.
How old was she 10 years ago?
She was 27. She had 6 kids by then.
All right. And so
our relationship has been strained, from the early on when I had the second child. It got so bad, I called my mom and stepdad several times after I relocated to Georgia in 1991 to find out what kind of horrible kid was I to be having such problems with my daughter. And my mom said I wasn't a horrible kid, but I sucked as a mother, obviously, because my daughter despised me. I loathed her. I hate to say it, but it's honest. I absolutely loathed her.
What did she do wrong? Hold on, man. What did she do to you?
Several things, but the most disgusting thing or the most devastating thing is when she got pregnant, everybody in the community knew she was pregnant but me.
How old was she then?
Between 15 and 16.
All right. Were you a drunk?
Yes.
Did everybody in the neighborhood know that?
I'm sure they did.
Well, yes. I'm sure she preferred that everybody know she was pregnant than my mama's a drunk.
Okay, well, fine, yes.
That's my point. I mean...
Yes, it's a valid point. Yes. Okay,
all right. I was just saying, it's kind of tough for you to pass any judgment on her because a drunk is the same as a crackhead. And in the household or not, you've abandoned your child. You chose liquor over your child. So you can't then come back and say, what happened to that child? That child, something wrong with her. So don't get too high and mighty now, but I'll just throw that out there as we move on. Yes, ma'am.
Judge Mathis, I said in the beginning that I was a horrible mother. I'm not putting it all on her. I know being an alcoholic is a terrible thing, and I was one. I have apologized to her over and over again about my choices. I made bad choices. And I have no excuse other than I drank. I suffered a tremendous, devastating loss when my husband, fiance, asked me to marry him. He asked me 7 a.m. About 10 o'clock that Friday, he was dead, jumped off a bridge in PG County, Maryland. So I didn't drink because I just didn't have nothing to do. I drank because I was hurting and trying to raise 2 kids, and I did not know what I was doing.
Did you try grief counseling?
Oh, yes, I've tried, sir. I'm in counseling now.
No. I'm saying after your losses, ma'am.
I was working at American Red Cross in Washington, D.C., and my manager sent me to a therapist and counselor that worked with me, but I gave up.
Okay. Why did you give up?
I didn't want to live.
Okay. And that lasted how many years? Your alcoholism.
I had some good moments, some good times. I didn't drink the whole time. I went through treatment. I had to go in behavioral health facilities several times. I've attempted suicide several times. My parents had the kids for I think a year. My son was taken away from me. So it's been a struggle. Yes.
And God bless you. But as you just said to me, they lived a horrible life.
Yes.
And I know you want some sympathy. How old are you?
I don't want any sympathy. No,
okay,
sir.
well, you're rationalizing why you abandoned your children and why they suffered. You're looking inward at yourself, saying, this was the problem. I had a problem. That's what drug addicts do. You know that. I know I abandoned my kids, but let me tell you why. Because So let's go. They suffered. So it is beyond my understanding how you could criticize her lifestyle after you're the one that created it. You created everything. Everything she is because of you.
Yes.
All right. Well, don't get here playing high and mighty now. You give me some background on the relationship with you and your mom.
It has been strained. Like she said, when I got pregnant at 16, I broke my mom's heart. I know I broke her heart because she had talked to me about not allowing it to happen. And I allowed it to happen. And the reason that I guess I didn't tell her is because I was scared. I didn't want to ever disappoint my mother. But growing up, I always felt like I wasn't good enough. Nothing that I did was good for her.
Why did you feel that way? Why?
Well, I had a younger brother, and it just always seemed like with my younger brother, I was only the one that stayed in trouble. My mom growing up would tell me things that she hated me. She wished she would have avoided me.
Why do you think she would say that type of stuff to you?
I feel like because I look so much like my dad.
Man, would you say those things to her?
I was a cruel person. Yeah, I said.
And you actually told her you wish you'd aborted her?
Yes.
And now you're sitting there high and mighty talking about how much you resent and despise her? Well, if you sober, you still got alcoholic ways.
Right.
Because I've never heard anybody treat their children like that. Only thing you said she did to you is embarrass you by getting pregnant at 16. And young lady, you just don't understand. You're the one that should have been disappointed. All right. Anything else you want to tell me about growing up? Did you all ever get along? Perhaps when she became sober? Because that's the time things should change.
We've had some times. Recently, I thought my mother understood me as her daughter. She actually said that, she just had to accept me for who I was. And I thought at that point, and this might have been maybe
I'm just so confused. Who does she say you are?
Well, I'm not like my mom. I'm totally different.
I hope not.
I think differently. My mindset is differently. Things that upset her don't necessarily upset me. I'm more of my father's child. I never knew too much about him growing up. It's just now he's involved in my life, and we have so many things that are so similar. He's the one that motivates me to keep going no matter what I go through with my mom. And he's like, you got to understand, your mom has a few issues, but
what issues does she have now?
My mother suffers from bipolar.
There you go. Well, then somebody tell me something. All right. Now we're talking. You have a chemical imbalance. So that's understandable. You have a mental disorder. Okay. There it is. Now, have you taken medicine over the years if what she says is true?
Sir, I have had ups and downs. The last 5 years, I have been medication compliant.
Okay.
I do still have issues. I have therapy every week. I see my psychiatrist every 2 months.
Good.
I do want to tell you, I'm not high and mighty.
Absolutely.
I told you, and I will repeat it. I tell everybody, I was a horrible person and a horrible mom, and still are like that.
And I want to tell you, it was because you had a mental illness. It's because you had a mental disorder. It's not things you chose, and you were self-medicating with alcohol. Even if you had no deaths that sent you into grieving, you would have major problems in your family and with your children based on your bipolar disorder. So unless you were treating that, and I know back in the day, people, parents, particularly our community, we ain't knowing about no bipolar disorder. So I don't want you to feel bad about that. You shouldn't feel that you were horrible. You should feel that you had a mental illness and that your objective now should be, and it should have been since treatment, is to bring your family and do your best to strengthen the relationships that were destroyed because of your bipolar disorder. That's why she's saying she's not putting you down, because she knows. I respect her for accepting that was the problem between you and her dad. And you have a great daughter who understands that clearly. And you need to know that a lot of times what you are feeling is a little bit skewed as a result of the bipolar disorder. All right?
Yes.
So let's not feel this way. You all gonna work on that, right? Have you ever went to counseling with her?
No.
Yeah, and whoever's affected in the family, just give it a shot. And we'll pay for it here and find the location for you if you're willing to do it. And ma'am, I know that you might deal with a disorder, but I know you love your daughter. And if you love your daughter, give it a...
I don't know. To be honest, I do not know.
All right. That's your illness there. Okay. Let's move to the loans and the bank fee.
I loaned her money. She was living in an extended stay hotel. And she said, I asked her, how could I help her? And she said she couldn't get a place until she stopped paying the weekly extended stay hotel. I gave her $200 cash. I do know the $100 I loaned her was when she needed to pay a bill. And I told her each time that I need my money back because I'm on a fixed income and don't work. And at the 25th of the month, I get broke and I have a bad shopping addiction. She didn't give me my money back. I had to move because I had a bad episode where I live and they asked me to move. My rent went from $9.30 to $13.55 because I had to find a place immediately. I went off because I don't like being up against the wall with no finances and all I have is me. So that's why I have ranted and raved about my money.
Why do you think you have a shopping addiction? Where do you think that comes from?
Instead of drinking, I shop.
There you go. Where do you think that comes from?
Insecurities and fear. I don't know what else it comes from. I don't know.
Okay. Let me suggest to you, you need a little better counseling because I read up on mental illness. It's important to me. I deal in that area. I worked with the U.S. Surgeon General under Bill Clinton, and we did tours around the country, primarily in prisons, to determine the extent of mental illness because we know now that privileged folks go to counseling and our kids go to jail. And so what I'm telling you, what you just said to me, is your counselor has not given you or you have not internalized or you forgot, because a shopping addiction is classic bipolar. Anything that'll make you feel good, you'll do it. And every time you feel bad, you're going to run and do something to make you feel good. And many people shop to feel good. And you say you had an episode. You at least know that you have episodes from time to time. And you know that comes from your mental disorder or from your illness. And so good. And so get your arms around it. Get your arms around it as best you can. Don't internalize it and feel that you are a horrible person. The disease is a horrible disease. That's what we have to look at. All right? And don't let it destroy you internally. Have fun with it. Whatever you got to do. Apologize and be remorseful when you hurt people as a result of your outrage. But don't let that destroy you. Have fun with yourself. All right? And you got the best daughter in the world to have put up with that, show love, and has an understanding. A lot of kids won't even take the time to get the understanding. She has. And so I applaud her and I give you your money. Judgment for the plaintiff. Have a good day. $1,000.06 for you.
Thank you, Judge Mathis.
All right.
Thank you, Judge Mathis. Thank you.
Yeah.
Love you, Mother. Love you too.